गुड मॉर्निंग इंडिया एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉर्ट में आप सबका स्वागत है. We got into the 15th day of the Iran war. Actually, today is the 16th. I'm only giving you the update till yesterday. And what's to go see ahead? It's the unfolding battle for the Strait of Hormuz. And my cartoon tells everything. And at this point, I'd like to say that it's not only Gonna Short people who are watching it, it's also people from, subscribers from P Gurus who are on the show. Welcome to everyone. Do subscribe to both the channels and also join in as members and, like the video also. Right. Interesting days are coming ahead and we're going to see this battle going to Hormuz. The whole story now hinges around Hormuz and oil. Like I've been saying for the past 2-3 days, ये जो युद्ध है ये तेल का खेल है. For those of you who don't understand, it's the game is all about oil. The tail is Hindi, oil in Hindi, and kale is game. So the game is all about the oil. So having said that, Faban 68 comes and says, 86 comes and says, people are saying different analysis than yours. Oh, they're more. War is a two-sided thing, so analysis also will be multi-sided. Everyone is looking at the game the way he wants, and I'm also looking at the game the way I want. I'm looking at it largely from the Indian perspective, and to get all people understand what this whole story is. So don't think that I have to fall in place with others and all that. And of course, you have the choice. You don't like my analysis, don't come here. As simple as that. But let me give you my methodology. I pick up, events, go through all social media, normal media, everything. I go through events, pick up things, pick up, clips, everything, and I authenticate all that. I don't give you AI edited things or all that. No. I then give you a balanced picture as to both sides, what they're up to. That's what I've been doing. And based on that, certain influences are coming out and, other views are coming out. And that's what I put across to you. So it's not very imaginative or it is not very original. I'm not a strategist of that variety. I don't have an agenda. Nor am I ignoramus. Many of the journalists will give their views and their this thing based journalists and professors and all. How the bloody hell does a professor know what's the importance of Kharg Island or for that matter Abu Musa? So you have to take all these with a pinch of salt wherever it is, including mine. I'm not saying don't take it with a pinch of salt. I have my own biases. We are all human, right? Having said that, let's get into the whole story immediately without any ado and anything else. What does New York Times say to over yesterday evening and today morning, right? He says for Trump, a promised economic boom collides with the costs of war. Yeah, Trump is realizing that war isn't so easy. And fundamentally, I think he thought he could transpose Venezuela here. He and his advisor have failed in this, right? And interestingly, US tells citizens to leave Iraq after the second attack on the embassy. So there has been an attack on the embassy, and we'll touch upon it again. But interesting, people are being asked to leave that place. Okay, so cascade of AI fakes about war with Iran causes chaos online. That's the point I'm trying to make. When you come here, you don't get AI fakes. I'm not AI. I am a real man with a real brain, not artificial intelligence. I don't use artificial intelligence at all. I'm that old school kind of a character. So what you get from me is this thing. And then we'll talk of, there's this headline here which says how a marine unit in the Middle East could open up the war. And we'll see how it opens up the war and all that. We'll touch on that because that's the interesting part. And yesterday evening, it was said why little was done to head off oil Straits of Hormuz problem. Yeah, everyone knew there's a problem in Strait of Hormuz, but if you had to, resolve the problem beforehand, it meant, you had to step on a few toes. So that was not politically feasible. And I'll talk why it's not easy even now at this stage to open up Hormuz without boots on ground. I'll explain to you today in a little more detail. Okay. Then Iran has put Middle East water supplies at risk, and we will talk of it. And then, of course, there's this article, Trump and Rubio's vision of war, the art of destroy and deal. Well, that's a internal political game of USA. Will not go there. Washington Post says Trump calls on other nations to help open Strait of Hormuz. U.S. embassy in Baghdad. That we know. But the interesting thing is, Mr. Trump has given a call out to the rest of the nations, including Russia, China. All those people can come and open the strait up. I don't think it's feasible. Even if they do come, it's not feasible. This is a job by one nation or at best two nations in coalition with each other. Right? People are saying this is panic. Maybe he's spreading the panic intentionally. That look, the Strait of Hormuz will come, aap bhi aa jana, line mein khade ho jao. Right? So that's what Washington Post says. US Central Command says Kharg Island strikes destroyed military sites, not oil facilities. We'll touch on this a little more because what's going to happen in Kharg Island, we'll have to, has a backward connect to what I said yesterday to what's coming up. Okay. Trump asked, the world to keep the strait open. Now, world won't help. It's only between Iran, Israel, UAE, and this lot, USA. No one else is going to come in. That's what Al Jazeera says. And it says US hideouts in UAE legitimate targets after Kharg Island attack. Now, as per Iran, US has crossed the Rubicon. That Rubicon means that all the US facilities in UAE will be hit. And that's happening. It's hitting UAE. And I'll talk of this a little later. It's singling out UAE. Right? Who? Iran. Iran is singling out UAE for a purpose. And we'll talk of that in detail today. Okay. Then, of course, China. China is on a tangent. They're not worried about day-to-day developments in this war and all that. They say, how are military helicopters evolving to adapt to the age of drone warfare? US is shifting third to Middle East. That's important. That's important. So that means US needs more air defense. Will it put some holes in the eastern sector? They've taken that risk of shifting. That's a military decision. That's a political decision. Okay. Will China's yuan lift Strait of Hormuz blockade? Well, it's not going to happen. Though Iran has said that, anyone who's dealing with Iran, this is all kind of unauthenticated news coming out. Will anyone trading in yuan be allowed to pass through the Gulf of Hormuz and all that? Unauthenticated, because the guys who have been allowed to go are not allowed to go. And we'll talk of it when you come to the Indian thing, how things have happened. And then think of a lot of fakes, which I mentioned earlier also. Look at this. It says Israeli Prime Minister's office refutes suggesting Netanyahu is assassinated. There's a story going. There's an AI video which shows his corpse also. And some six-fingered guy. All this. There's a lot of fog in this whole story. And people are creating narratives. I wouldn't say narrative. People are creating content based on not even narratives, their own narratives and the way to get their importance and things like that. Look, we are not in that. I'm not in that game. Be very clear on that. I mean, you should be absolutely clear on that. Then, of course, there's this news. Let me highlight it further. 5 US Air Force refueling planes hit an Iranian strike on Saudi Arabia, as per Wall Street Journal and Reuters. Wall Street Journal came out with it, and the Reuters has also amplified it, and many have said now 5 refuelers gone. I had my doubts. No one missile will take 5 refuelers out. And sure enough, it took the president to come out and put this on. Right? Let's just see what he has said. Okay, let me make it bigger. Right. He said fake news out about five tanker planes that were supposedly struck down at an airport in Saudi Arabia and of no further use. In actuality, the base was hit a few days ago, but the planes were not struck or destroyed. Four of the five had virtually no damage and already back in service. One had slightly more damage but will be in the air shortly. None were destroyed. So, what you're saying is, see, you have to understand the difference between a strike and damage. You can strike a person, but does he get damaged just because you hit him? That doesn't mean he's gone. Yeah. So remember that in always and every time. A strike is not damage. A strike is not incapacitation. A strike is a strike. So many of these don't strikes and flashy things which are seen. Uh, the actual resultant damage would be less, and so be a little careful in assessing whether US is stuck or not, or Iran is finished or not, and all that. I mean, it's just not there. Okay, now right. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to this map and see what's happening here in this map. This is a map which the New York Times put out. They focused on things outside. US bombed Kharg Island. We know that. Israeli military said it has attacked Space Research Center in Tehran. That's interesting. So, whatever, it's possible that all space-based information was coming to Tehran through this center. It's not they call it a space research center, but it basically must be a communication EAO. So, whatever little direct feed which probably China was giving, probably at this point, or Russia was giving, has probably been knocked out, and Israel has hit a few other places within Tehran, the sensitive places of Iran. Okay, and there are airstrikes in Beirut also, right? And so that's a full operation going on. If this Iran-US big spat was not going on, that would have hit the headlines today. I might be discussing to you about Hezbollah and Israel and all. It's reduced to a sideshow, but Israel is fighting two fronts. And remember, Iran itself is fighting, with its proxies around. See, all the proxies are working. It's not as if the proxies are dead. Okay, so that's it. And of course, Iran allied militia has hit the US embassy. So the US embassy, if it gets vacated, then it means a big, I wouldn't say loss, but loss of face for US. That's how I look at it. Okay, now let's get into the battle events of yesterday. Fujairah oil terminal in UAE has been hit yesterday. Again, I don't know whether it's off or not, but it's been hit. Right, again, UAE's oil terminal has been struck by multiple drones. This is from Iran. Iran Observer. So this is the Iranian side. That was the other side of the story. Now let me explain to you what is this whole the significance of Fujairah. The significance of Fujairah has to be understood by people. I'll enlarge the map. This is Fujairah. Fujairah has passed the Strait of Hormuz. It's outside. It's straight in the Gulf of Oman. So why are they hitting Fujairah? Because UAE has got a pipeline from Dubai to, or rather wherever it is, to Fujairah, so that the Fujairah port can directly offload. So you don't have to go through the Gulf of Hormuz. That leaves Dubai or rather UAE with the capability of continuing to export oil with respect to what happens in the Persian Gulf. See, that's the important thing. That's why Iran has hit. And Iran is very clear. Why is Iran doing this? Why is Iran doing this? So that you hit here, if this pipeline and this is closed and you can't export anything out of Fujairah or increase the capacity out of Fujairah, they must be having some method. Then people are forced to open the Gulf of Hormuz. We talk of the Malacca dilemma. This is the Hormuz dilemma, which has been bypassed to some extent by Dubai. Now, Iran, see, the point is the moment you degrade this, this isn't a problem. If tomorrow this increases, the pipeline increases and Fujairah gets the prominence in UAE, then Iran becomes irrelevant. That is why it is targeting Dubai. Remember that it is targeting UAE. Why is Iran targeting UAE? As much as the Strait of Hormuz, Iran controls the northern bank, and we want to, we, when I say we, the US and its forces and all want to get hold of some part of the northern bank. Okay, Iran also wants to get hold of the southern bank. It might not put boots on ground, but it wants to control everything here so that no one can exist out here. If no one can come in and do anything out there, it continues to control the Strait of Hormuz. So both from each bank, North Iran from the northern bank and UAE and US from the southern bank are trying to control the Strait of Hormuz. And I'll touch upon the Strait of Hormuz a little more in detail a little later. Okay. I'll come back because there are certain issues which have happened. It's not only Kharg Island, there's an island called Abu Musa and all that. But let me put things in perspective. Here it is. There are two oil lines, right? One oil line, let me make it bigger. One oil line is, Abu Dhabi to Fujairah, or which I'm forgetting that, Habshan Fujairah pipeline, right? And the second is the east-west pipeline from the Aramco thing at, I think, Kurais, from Kurais to Yanbu. And it picks up oil from others. And that's got substantial 50% of Saudi oil is going out. So actually speaking, if all things normal and even if the Strait of Hormuz is closed, the guys who are in some kind of a balance are still the Dubai people, that is UAE and Saudis. Because their oil will continue to flow. It is the others, Iraq, Bahrain, Qatar, they are the ones who are stuck. The others will flow. The Kuwait, yeah, did I say Kuwait? I missed out? No. So their oil will continue, will get stuck. But the second point I'd like to make is, given the fact that, look, we are in a condition where the Strait of Hormuz is closed. We will be in a condition tomorrow probably where the Red Sea passage is also closed, that is Bab al Mandab. Then the importance of the IMEC comes in. So those of you who felt that IMEC is out of the equation and all, just forget it. IMEC will come in. In the next 1 year, I see IMEC coming in along with a lot of oil flow pipelines. India will put money, say, okay, you make a pipeline through Dukum. Dukum is here, Oman. Of course, this is hard desert, but now people will take, you mean to say in our Thar desert, we don't have communication, and all, everything is there. So you'll see this IMEC now speeding up. It's in everyone's interest that IMEC comes in. Europeans, Americans, Indian, Gulf countries, and Israeli. The only ones who will not be happy with it are the Turks, will not be happy, Chinese will not be happy, and Iran won't be happy. And if you have to end game or side play Iran, this is the only way. And if Iran has to also behave, this is the only way. And you'll see this unfolding. Irrespective of what happens, my guess is one of the biggest takeaways of this is the importance of IMEC. Well, others might have different view about it. This is my view, and I'm sure so far my views have generally I've been plus minus 10%, 20% correct. And then if you look at the Iranians, they've said Iran has urged UAE residents to evacuate ports, docks, US military areas. We warn the leaders of the UAE and the Islamic Republic that the Islamic Republic of Iran use it as a right to defend its national sovereignty and territory by striking the launch sites of American missiles located in shipping ports, docks, all that. So they are saying they are all this thing. And right, and they're going to target American-backed energy infrastructure. Now, everything in this peninsula is American-backed only. So they're actually saying we're going to hit everything. And that's what they're doing. Today morning, I heard they hit something called Al Kharj Air Base in Saudi. So they're hit everywhere. We'll have a look at where all the bases are and all that. Okay, which will become targets. And then, what is the guarantee to end the war? He says, this is in two, three different. This is by Aditya Raj call. He says, end of war is in our hands. Iran says, we will consider ending the war only when we receive full compensation for all our damages from US. We obtain 100% guarantee of future, which is not possible without EAO. And that means they want US out of the Persian Gulf. We'll see. This is a tall order. This is a dream. And they say recover all our expenses. This is from someone else. Other full compensation, 100% guarantee of the future. Same thing, right? Right. And then Iran has also reported the Kharg Island thing. What has happened? This was yesterday, but I'm putting it back. More than 15 explosions heard on the island. Enemy attempted to damage military fortifications, the Joshan Naval Base, airport control tower, and the helicopter hangar on the continental shelf. Right. Sources confirmed that no oil infrastructure was damaged. After the attacks, Trump claimed that US struck all military targets. Trump's claim of destroying Kharg Island's defenses is false. Defenses were reactivated an hour after the attack. Right. Trump also repeatedly claimed the complete destruction of Iran's missile capabilities, but waves of missile and drone attacks have now reached their 48th round. Today morning, it is the 51st round. So 51 rounds of missiles have been fired. And I mean, it gives you an idea. They're making about 2 to 3 strikes in a day, not more than that. This was yesterday's news, 48th round. Today morning, it's 51st. 3 strikes, 4 strikes. Is it significant or just propaganda? What's the effect? Like I said, there's a difference between the effect and the strike. Okay? Please understand that. Right. That's how it is. And then something similar with US also, Central Command came out. It said we executed a large-scale precision strike on Kharg Island. The strike destroyed naval mine storage facilities, missile storage bunkers, and multiple other military sites. Yeah. US forces struck more than 90 Iranian military targets on Kharg Island while preserving the oil infrastructure. So whether we like it or not, whether Iran likes it or not, whether US likes it or not, there is a certain amount of degradation of the Kharg Island military infrastructure. Okay, there has been. Right. But let me talk a little bit of the Kharg Island. Why is Kharg Island important? It holds the oil infrastructure. Why has US hit the military infrastructure? So that the defense of that island is degraded. What's the importance of Kharg Island? You see, Kharg Island has the capability to load about 10 to 12 tankers. 10 to 12 tankers simultaneously. Because the water is deep. Lot of berths. Tankers won't be there now. Or might be there, I don't know. But I don't think it will be there. Because no tankers are going through. It's important because Kharg Island is capable of being captured amphibiously. Put a, para or a sky drop, okay, vertical envelopment, capture the military bases there, special forces, take ships alongside because the berthings are deep there. Right. It's vulnerable. So I expect to see more action around Kharg if US wants to capture that. The value of capturing that is then you economically squeezed Iran out. Let me tell you now my own way of looking at it. Get hold of that, get hold of some part of the Strait of Hormuz, Iran will have to fold up. On that, let's not have doubts. After that, Iran can keep whistling what it wants and all that. If this is caught, well, that's the plan. I'll discuss it a little later with all of you. We'll discuss this. Of course, Trump has come out with this 95% decrease in Iranian drone attacks. That's important because while we say that Iran is continuing with its drone attacks and it's maintaining its position and all that, I agree. It's maintaining a flag still intact. It's not dominating. Remember that. Iran is doing some strike. How much damage we don't know. How much it has been put off? No, it's not. Does Iran have the capability of finishing off all these forces out of question? So it's only keeping its end up. That's the military hard fact. Okay. He says 90 plus Iran missiles destroyed, no problems. But Iran still retains the capability of dominating the Strait of Hormuz. They don't need navy for it. And I'll explain how. And the difficulties of this battle for Hormuz. Right, and 6,000, you can keep striking any number of targets in Iran. It has no immediate value left. It will have value later because Iran has to rebuild. More targets you strike, infrastructure, in Iran and Tehran and Shiraz and wherever, that much more difficult for Iran to recover. And Iran will remain weak for a long time. Okay, right. Iran has been saying, US should vacate this area for peace and all that. Is it feasible? See the number of bases in which are there in this area. Look at the dots. These dark colored dots here are all major US bases, and other sites are where they're present. They're not bases, they're present. They can't be obstruct from all there. Why are they in the first place? Right? Like I always say, if these chaps are not there, the Gulf monarchies will go. For US presence in their country is their insurance. They will keep saying, oh, US has come and all that. But they want US there. It's not only external, it's internal also. And also remember, many people have said, why are the Gulf people not joining in this war? They don't have the capability. That is why even Saudi Arabia wants, Pakistan to join the war. You remember Saudis and Yemenis have been fighting for so long. Technologically, there's a complete outmatch. Saudis don't have that kind of training or manpower to do anything. Right? So that's how it is. Now, USA has also started using these B-2 bombers. Have a look at it. What a massive plane it is. Okay. This is the same plane. I don't know if you can hear it or not. If you can hear it, fine. If you can't hear it, let me know. The next video I'll play it through a different method. Okay. Now the point is, this is a massive plane. This was used for carpet bombing during the Vietnam era. It's still there. Okay. And they are using it. See, the point is, Americans are using it. If we are talking of Iran, their capabilities and all, don't forget that there is a whole lot of things which are being happening in Iran with the help of Israelis. Israeli intelligence, dissident intelligence, CIA would be having its foot on the ground already. Right? So, a lot of damage is still going on in Iran. Iran is taking that on and still getting back. That's a different story. And if they have started using this B-52 bombers, then seriously, there's something heavy going on militarily. Okay. And then they're trying to induct USS Tripoli. What is Tripoli? Have a look at it. See, USS Tripoli is an amphibious ship. It has a runway. It can take on aircraft. It can take on close support aircraft, Ospreys. It can take along with it choppers, everything, plus 2,500 marines. It has got its own firepower. So it has the capability of land, air, and sea uh, uh, capability. So this can be used. Where can it be used? We'll just see. We'll see where it can be used. But it's a big ship, and this big ship has to pass through that Strait of Hormuz. Can it pass? I don't think so. And Iranians say will not allow anything to pass. So America has to fight its way through the Strait of Hormuz for anything to go in. What is inside is inside. Now, but to go in and do anything in the Persian Gulf, it has to fight its way through. We'll discuss this also in detail. Oh, so there's no audio for thing. Okay, we'll have a look at it. We'll see that. I said this doesn't have too much audio. Huh? I hope you're having something out of this. Yeah, thanks a lot, Arthur. Good now is good. Right. Right. So now let's get back to slides and yeah. So we saw that. So even this has to fight its way through in. It's not going to happen easily. Okay. Right. Now let's discuss this. What will the Marine Expeditionary Force do? Yesterday also I showed this slide, but I'm repeating it because yesterday I showed it in a particular framework of thinking. Today it's in a different framework of thinking. Okay. What are the targets? Will they hit the Natanz uranium stock somewhere here? That's like searching for a pin in the haystack. I don't think they'll do that. Will it hit the Kharg oil terminal? Kharg oil terminal is here. Reaching Kharg oil terminal with your marine expeditionary forces means that you have to fight through the Strait of Hormuz, which is presently closed, and then reach there. This will be the Kharg oil terminal will be high, should be high on the list of priorities for USA. But reaching there is a problem. But USS Tripoli, it's a big ship with a lot of capability, is ideally positioned to capture Kharg Island. If USA captures Kharg Island, Iran will be in trouble. Huge financial trouble. It's a major escalation. Okay, Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, Strait of Hormuz here is a thing. I'll talk of the Strait of Hormuz a little later in detail because it's important. Will they attempt a Pakistani diversion? They're trying. USA is trying. But what is Pakistan doing? Pakistan is escalating the war with Afghanistan and saying, look, I'm stuck in a war here. How can I come and help you? Everyone understands it. Pakistan will pay for it later, but we're not. That's not our point of discussion. It is this. Pakistan is evading through the Afghan war, right? Now, whatever they do here, they have to carry on their hunt for launchers and expand their surveillance. How they're going to do it? They have to. They have no choice. For that, if they have to do reinforcement, so it is. Okay. Right. Now look at this map. Look at this map. Okay. This is Abu Musa. The Iranians have claimed that Abu Musa has been attacked. There's another called Siri. On both Siri and Abu Musa, there are airfields. Incidentally, then this is Bandar Abbas and Qasem. Okay, I'll show it fully. Yeah. Okay, and this is Hormuz actually. That's how the name comes, Hormuz Islands. So what do these islands do? And just think, anyone kept sitting on these islands can control this side and this side. All you need is some shoulder-fired missiles type and drones and all. So, oh, there's another island here, there's another island here, there's another island here. They're like that small islands. These small islands might look insignificant in peacetime, but come war, to control this Gulf area, right? To control this Gulf area or this entire water channel, you need these islands. You have to capture these islands. You have to sanitize these islands, which means you have to go to an island, overpower it, leave a detachment, and go and all that. So all that has to happen. That's the first step. And the second thing is You have to get hold of this Kushim and Bandar Abbas and then put people. These are all mountains around. So you have to sanitize these areas so that no one uses those as bases from where to launch rockets into that. Long range rockets efficacy against one odd target is difficult. You can swat it off. So you have to push people back, right? You have to push people back, say 30, 40 kilometers. I've said that. It's not as if you have to occupy. You have to occupy the dominating heights and ensure no one, with good surveillance and ensure that no one, comes in between and is able to interfere with the shipping. The moment you do that, this will get done. But it's easier said than done. It's a full operation. My way of looking at it, this should be the first this should be the first method or target for the commandos. Why? Because they can approach it from without getting into the muck of Strait of Hormuz. They can come through Fujairah and get in also. But Tripoli, if it has to come to Kharg Island, which is here, it has to go through this whole thing. And then in between a few ports, shorts, and all. That's a later day story. This is the way I look at it. Well, we'll see what the Americans do. We'll see what the Americans do. So this is important. And also remember, this slide is a very interesting graph which I got. Have a look at it. This is the amount of oil going from each country. Okay, Saudi, Iraq, UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, Iran, Bahrain. Where do they go? They go to China. Bulk China. These are the flows from Kuwait. See, China is, if you see, gets from Iraq, it gets from UAE, it gets from Kuwait, it gets from Qatar, Bahrain, and of course Saudis. And notwithstanding that, it gets from Iran itself. So China will get hit badly. Rest of Asia is only as much as China. India has got quite a lot, 1 billion barrels. Okay. And then Japan, South Korea. Rest of the world is minuscule. Right? Again, same thing for Qatar. Qatar is the only one providing for LNG. Okay. And of course, in this, Iran is not mentioned because Iran is under sanctions. So Qatar gives to everyone. UAE also gives to most. Okay. The gas from UAE is safe to us at this point of time because you can get it through Fujairah. So, right. So why I'm showing this is interestingly, the bulk of the oil and gas from the Gulf goes to Asia. It doesn't go to the others. So Asia will get hit. And China. So the more this Gulf of Hormuz closes, China is in a problem. And I'll show you the oil dependency of China a little later, energy dependency. So when people say China is supporting Iran, I don't know whether it's supporting Iran, because if the oil doesn't flow through, if the oil of the other countries won't go through Hormuz, why will the other oil go through? Iranian oil go through to China? It doesn't happen. China is in major problems. Whatever people, these are facts. These are facts. These are not my imagination. So Hormuz opening is critical to everyone. That's why Trump's message has to be seen. It's not as if he's seeking help. He's saying, yeah, you're also involved. You get it. Why should I do it alone? Share the fun. Okay. So he's playing a different game. But Hormuz is critical. Okay. Right. So I get back to this map. Hormuz is critical. If you want to get through, you need these islands. See, this island I just checked in the morning, Siri or Abu Musa. This is about 35-40 kilometers this side and same. It's almost midway. Right? And this is the narrowest part. Control of this can be from here and from here. And that is why Iran is targeting UAE. It is targeting for this area. It want to control this area. If American forces are hampered here, see, even if you fight your way through this, you still need this base, this jutting portion which is coming out like a finger. You need to put your people on ground to cover this. Only when you're here and you here all that, then you can say, okay, you be here. I have no problem. I have these islands. I'll get a channel through like this. And for this, of course, I'll catch one or two islands and see. That means what? The moment you do that, Iran's focus is now on evicting these fellows. Iran has to change its tactics. And if a diversion comes from Pakistan, nothing like it. I'm now giving the military situation. This is not tactically. This is not strategic and what Iran will do. Ye wo. This is what the battle for Hormuz should pan out in some manner. The Americans might have a different way of doing it. I don't know because I am not gone on ground to see all this. I don't know the ground actually, the sea, the ground there, and the channels and things like that. But well, let's see how it pans out. Okay, so this is Kharg Island. You have to fight through that. I have explained to you in detail. See, this is 300 kilometers, and this from end to end, and this is the Abu Musa. 40 kilometers here, 40 kilometers here, 33 kilometers here. So Hormuz is here. So these islands definitely you have to get hold of. Otherwise, this is not sanitized. For anything that any bridge is between two banks, you have to get the north bank and the south bank in this. Simple as that. Then the thing is, this whole story has put the Gulf water scene at risk. Water scene is at risk today. Okay. Yeah, he says the peninsula is Oman, not UAE, but then Oman is fully. Yeah, you might be a little wrong, partner, because Fujairah is here and Fujairah is UAE. Yeah, incidentally, it's not Oman, right? So have a look at the map again. Okay. Now, there's the issue of water also. Now, these are the water salination plants in this area. I just thought I'll put this. These are the water salination plants in this area, all these green circles, small ones, big ones, and all that. So, virtually, there's very little water available in this peninsula. And if water goes, there's an existential problem. Already, two strikes have taken place on the water, one in Bahrain and one in Iran. So far, that's the next stage of escalation. But that will be a bad scene. You see the share of water from desalination plants. They will tell you who's most vulnerable. Qatar, Bahrain, anything above 50%, UAE. Even for that matter, even Kuwait, Oman, all these countries need water desalination. Okay? If the water desalination plants are hit, they are in a major problem. Okay? Iran, on the other hand, doesn't have a problem. Right? Not much. So, if you see one odd place here, Iran. But then, Iran, where they can create a water problem by taking out the desalination plant, means the defenses of that plane might go down. So I really won't know the connectivity between the defensibility of that place, water requirement, and what is the importance of that place. These islands which are in the Strait of Hormuz won't have water, so they have to be supplied with water. If you're putting 10, 15 guys there, you can stock them with water for a month, but still they'll need. You can't have small desalination plants and all. So you starve them off water, within 10 days, they'll all put their hands up. So let's see how these things go. I'm giving you only ideas. Water is an important factor in this, which will come up. It's already come up once, but I'm reiterating what I've said earlier. And then the energy mix here. Look at this thing, which is, people talk of the, cuff and of their hat. Oil, see the dependence of oil of the top 10 economies. If their oil, is hit, just look at China. 20% of its energy is oil. In fact, if you look at oil and natural gas, 30%. Where does it get from? Most of the natural gas comes from Qatar, some from Russia, but 30% of this from is from the Gulf. So if this goes, there's a major problem. So for us, it's not very different. In fact, it's the same. But when you look at UK, France, you look at their dependence on oil, it's hell of a lot. So the oil economy is important. Then the next point which you have to understand is Russia is off. Russia is hereafter not going to give us oil discounted rate. Putin was selling oil at $50 a barrel. Now India has a waiver and it's buying Russian oil. But today we are being charged $90 or $100, whatever the rate is. So today you are in a market economy with Russia. But we're not going to get that hit. Already the government has said they'll not change the prices. No price change either in LNG or petrol. Yesterday also I spoke of this. Okay. Because I think they have enough buffer. They've created a lot of buffer for the past 2-3 years. Right? So I don't see much issues in that. That's the point I'm trying to make. We will make money out of refining. Without our refining capacity, the world won't stabilize. Look at the petrol prices in G20 countries. These all increase. India, Indonesia, and Saudi Arabia have not increased. Russia has decreased because it's a surplus. It's got surplus energy. But all the rest of the countries have gone up, including USA. That's the funny part. USA and Canada are oil producing surplus countries. They have increased their prices. They have to answer to themselves. This is where the popularity of the governments will go for a toss. See, America at times is its worst enemy. Their surplus of gas and surplus of oil. And how do you explain in this kind of a time their rates going up internally? Whereas in countries like India, they don't go up. Right. So America is, harming itself. And if it loses the war, it is because of such factors. Then, of course, 2 India flagged vessels came yesterday, Shivalik and Nanda Devi. They crossed the Hormuz, and I suppose today, tomorrow they'll come. And our state internally will be okay. I have no doubt about it. Right. And I'd like you to listen to this, Al Arabia, which discusses India and all that, and how things are happening for India in this game. So we'll talk, listen to this.
By the way, it also helps India within its own region because some of the smaller countries like Sri Lanka and Maldives and one of the larger countries, Bangladesh, they are now looking to India to provide oil from the Strait of Hormuz since they themselves do not have a similar deal with Iran, at least not yet. Right. So this could actually strengthen India's hand within its own region. And I think that's a net plus for India.
So that's a very important point he's saying. He says, look, India, whatever it gets, now it's getting oil. And plus, smaller countries around our neighborhood, they want this oil. So we will stabilize the neighborhood and it will play into our hands. This is a very important thing he's saying.
Also keep in mind that the Trump administration has given a 30-day waiver for
So there's a waiver so that you get a lot of flexibility.
India to import Russian oil.
Now being
so
recognized.
India's looking pretty good in terms of the energy picture. But as you mentioned, diplomatically, this is a very, very delicate balancing act, far more delicate than anything I've seen India try in the past, although India is pretty well versed at being non-aligned and interacting with all sides in a conflict. So I think that they're in pretty good shape. But consider this, right? India has had several phone calls with Iran, has forged this deal on India flagship.
So we are dealing with Iran. This is before certain events have happened. I'll come to that also, right? Now I'm into the India section of this story. So we are dealing well. No problem.
But at the same time, signed on to a resolution. I believe it was through the Gulf Cooperation Council, right? That condemned in the strongest terms possible Iran's retaliation for American and Israeli strikes. So how do you, square that circle? How do you say Iran was wrong, but yet we're still going to be friendly with Iran and have this deal? It's very delicate.
So they're in a quandary. Yeah, how does India do all this? How does India do all this? How do you square this circle? Sorry. Oh, yeah, bad. How do you square this circle? India is playing both sides of the game, and we'll see how it's playing
But
the both sides of the game, right? Yeah. Now this is the way it's playing both sides of the game. What did we do? The deal which we have done is this very simple. That IRS Dana which went in, those sailors, the dead bodies. Somehow we've helped. Iran, Sri Lanka. We've spoken. They've gone home. Plus, we had one ship which was inside Cochin. That has also been returned. People have been returned. We're not. So we've lent a hand of friendship to Iran at that time, 1 week back. So now they've let two ships in. Yeah, someone says, yo, you need, yeah. So he says, these two ships good for 10 days max. Things will even work out. After 10 days, things will work out. So don't be in a flap. I mean, I somehow find many people are a little jittery about what's happening. Don't get jittered. India is strong, it will happen, and I'll show you why it will happen. I don't foresee any problem for India. Okay. Oil though is not a problem. It is that LNG from Qatar is in a problem, but we have other sources of LNG also. So there might be a bit of a reduction, but I don't visualize it. Right? Even if it's there, it's so be it. Right. Yesterday, like they said, Indian Navy swung into action. They got hold of both these vessels, Shivalik and whatever that other one, Nanda Devi, and they brought it in, which is good. And why things won't go south is because of this. Yesterday in the India Today conclave, the Iranian ambassador had a discussion. Have a look. Understand. I'll play it. It's a 5-minute clip. I'll play it for a couple of minutes.
the responses from New Delhi when it comes to the attack, the responses from New Delhi when it comes to an Iranian ship having been sunk by America off the coast of Gaul in the Indian Ocean in India's backyard.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, if with your permission, I want to thank you for providing me this opportunity, and thanks the organizers.
See, the first thing is you got the Iranian ambassador on the India Today enclave, and that's what he says. Thank you. There's no other platform, there's no other place where Iran is getting a platform to speak. You remember that? And now he says, thank you. Only India has got the platform, and that exchange, pro quid quo kind of a thing which is going on. You give their sailors back, their ship back, and you're getting oil in. I mean, not their oil or thing. Your tankers are coming through.
And you know that we are in the time that we have lost our great figure and great. Okay. And you know that I want to say something before I starting my answer to your question. His Eminence always advises us, try your best to stand on the right side of history. And I believe that His Eminence stood on the right side of history and received his reward, because we believe that our country to high level of the technology and science you can see in the virtual space. And now we believe that the Iranian people and all the free nation are deeply saddened for this martyrdom. Have a good action in this situation. According to your question, Ms. Mahan, I prefer to speak Persian because I want to don't miss any details. And so I asked my colleague, Mr. Hosseini, to translate in Persian and English, and I want to answer in the Persian language. در مورد این سوال شما ما مذاکره ای رو جناب آقای مودی داشت بحث بشه که روابط ایران و هند رو تلفنی رو هماهنگ بکنم.
I, as ambassador of Iran, it was my duty to organize this telephone conversation. I did it.
من معتقدم که ایران و هند منافع مشترک دارن.
I believe Iran and India have the common interest.
من به عنوان سفیر معتقدم که ایران و ایندیا سرنوشت مشترک دارن.
And I believe both countries have the same fate.
من معتقدم به این که اگر هر گپی بین ما ایجاد بشه دیگران وارد این گپ میشن.
I believe if there is any rift or any gap between these two countries, the enemies will actually use that.
و معتقدم هستم که دو طرف از یک بلوغ سیاسی و اجتماعی برخوردار هستن که این موضوعات رو خوب بتونن مدیریت کنن.
I believe both sides have this maturity that they can handle the.
So he is talking all this. Both countries should talk with each other. His Eminence, that is, got martyrdom. Half 5-6 minutes. I'm not getting into. So you see in the India Today conclave, so this man has spoken, right? Then what next happened? That's the interesting part. So who's this?
That are not in writing, that are not part of the trade deal. So I'm always amazed when I watch the local news because people sometimes do make stuff up.
So the American ambassador also comes on the same platform and speaks. Okay, let me get to the beginning. Let's.
A phenomenal job protecting India. With President Trump, his job is also looking out for the United States. I'll touch on one other item on the trade deal. The trade deal is a win-win trade deal. There's been a lot of remarks in the news here of people taking things out of context, taking things that are.
So I mean, if I put things in perspective, we're given a platform for the Iranian ambassador and the US ambassador, and both are speaking of how to improve relations with India. So have you become a common point?
India.
Of course, you have become a common point. There's no doubt about it. Right? So there is adequate diplomatic space with us to do things in the right manner. But having said that, let's see how the government is addressing the overall petroleum situation. Okay, see this clip.
आप लोगों के माध्यम से देशवासियों से अपील है कि पैनिक बुकिंग से बचें, जितनी जब आवश्यकता हो तब बुकिंग करें.
So she says no panic. People are doing panic booking, and she's shown it here. There's a blob which shows panic booking. Don't do panic booking. There's adequate.
ड्राई आउट अभी रिपोर्टेड नहीं है और आपके माध्यम से मैं दोबारा से एक पॉइंट को रीएम्फेसाइज करना चाहूँगी कि पैनिक बुकिंग अभी भी बहुत ज़्यादा हो रही है. कल जो नंबर हमने आपको लगभग 75 या 76 लाख बुकिंग बताया था, I mean now that number has increased to almost 88 lakhs. So this is nothing but a panic booking. मेरा आप लोगों के माध्यम से देशवासियों से अपील है कि पैनिक बुकिंग से बचें, जितनी जब आवश्यकता हो तब बुकिंग करें.
So there's no problem, actually. There's no problem in this whole story. And that's what people have to understand. So government of India is doing adequate. So just be patient. Okay. But on a macro level, we are dealing with both people. And we are playing a game. This is something which we have done from a long time. We know how to play both sides of the game. We're getting, okay, today you got 2 ships, tomorrow it will be 3 ships, maybe 4 ships, right? Whether Iran controls Strait of Hormuz or not, or US controls the Strait of Hormuz or not, my interest is I need gas. It's not only from LNG, from Qatar, from others also. So the government is doing, and they have not increased the prices, nor are they refusing panic booking. Of course, people who are hoarding, want to do black marketing, See, a lot of these chaps want to do all that. Okay, now I'm going to get to something else. We'll see the story of Iran. Yeah, 1 minute. I have to add back. Yeah, let's get to this. What is the status of Iran? And let's see how Iran will look out in the future. How does Iran, what do you see shaping up in Iran? Because that's critical to our understanding. USA has got the strength, it will continue for 10, 15, 20 days, whatever happens to Iran, USA. Let's look at Iran. Because whatever status Iran ends up in has a bearing on us, it has a bearing on the Gulf, it has a bearing on Pakistan. So let me analyze Iran. So we are very clear the command and control is gone and units are operating autonomously. So you cannot trust Iran to keep its word. Not because that ambassador wants to keep his word or not. It is because of the fact that the communication between them and their autonomous units are gone. The central leadership might say something, the people on ground might say do something else. So in this context, these two ships coming through smoothly are a tremendous achievement. We forced them to communicate down the channel and reopen their own lines of communication. And it must have been done at great risk. Let me tell you. Now, Iran, whether it is weak or strong, is a greater threat to Gulf monarchies than before. This is an enmity which was latent. Today it is deep and open. And it will continue further. Don't expect it to get papered over. That's thinking, too much, asking too much. Right. And then, of course, whether we like it or not, Hezbollah, Houthis, and Iraqi militias are on the verge of getting revived. This is the Iran we're going to see. Their economy is shattered. Regime survival will be existential because we don't know whether that Moshtaba is alive or not. A lot of news coming. His face is not seen. Right. At the same time, the major threat from a degraded Iran has receded. Let's face facts. If you can push them out of the Strait of Hormuz, then you're looking at a different scenario. And like I said, Iran is isolated politically and militarily. Okay? No one is coming to its aid. Even covertly, I don't think anyone is coming to its aid. Now, are you looking at what is that IRGC state which will emerge from this? The Islamic Republic 2.0 which will emerge out of this? What will it look like? This is what I've made it. See, military success by USA will not translate into a political victory. A military loss by Iran could translate into a political victory for them. If today the conflict ends, Iran, let's face fact, would have lost its nuclear facilities and scientists. They've lost it over. You have to see Iran across the 12-day war in May and now. Missiles and launchers are gone. Weapons factories are gone. Navy is almost gone. Command and control for its military, intelligence, security forces all gone. But the regime will survive. Okay. Many people in their military leadership, political leadership are all dead. They'll be replaced by others. Who are these others? They'll be fanatics, radicals. So what you're going to see is a more radical regime coming out. And also there's no sign of a popular uprising. I have a little word to say, I'll say this. Right? Like I said, the cadres of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps will come from the ashes of this whole story. And they will be hardened radicals. That's the danger which Iran continues to project. They are now people who have nothing left except their dignity and pride. And they'll keep fighting. Because they have nothing to lose. See, any strategic bombing which you do will eventually backfire. This carpet bombing business will backfire. Americans tried it in Vietnam, it backfired badly. They tried it in Afghanistan, it will backfire. They're doing it now with those B-52 Stratofortress bombers, it will backfire. When these things happen, people dig in and they'll fight for their cause, whether it's winning cause or lost cause. Okay, so this is the Islamic regime which is coming. A lot of talk of internal regime. I mean, sorry, internal uprising. Will it happen? I don't think so. Just think. Just think. This is what I observed yesterday. Supporters of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps are patrolling the street with guns and are out on the streets, whilst those who are oppressed and those who were to revolt are in their houses sheltering from whose strikes? Israeli and American strikes. Will this thing change? Difficult. For that to change, you need boots on ground. Okay? Right. So, look, before I finish, Trump's likes the show of American power, yeah, whoa, but he doesn't want to pay the bill. He wants others to pay the bill. Who will pay the bill here? Will America pay the bill? No. Will the Gulf countries pay? They might have to. Will Iran pay? Might have to. Then there will be a resurgence of terrorism from Iran and its sympathizers. Who will stop it? That's $1 million question. I'm just leaving a poser before I finish off. So I've covered a whole lot of things today. What the update is, how will the military actions go, and the Indian scene. And now I've left you with a few posers. 360-degree. I do hope you people have liked this. If you liked it, press the like button. Also subscribe to Ghana Shot and P Gurus, and also join us as members. Right? Let me take thing. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ramakrishna, for becoming a member for 4 months. General, why target UAE, our friend, more than Saudi, Pakistan's financier? I thought Saudi drove this war. What if Pakistan gives Saudi the bomb? Pakistan will not give Saudi the bomb. Americans will not allow it. That's the first thing. I've explained to you why UAE is being bombed by Iran. UAE and Iran were friends. A lot of money of Iran was being funneled through UAE. Now they feel cheated because UAE is now turned against them. Okay, so that is one. And second, Hormuz, USA. Right? Control of Hormuz is not feasible without UAE. Okay. So that is why Iran is after this. They want to get hold of, I won't say get hold, they want to, target UAE so that Hormuz control retains with. I've explained this in detail. Thanks a lot. And of course, Gavin Alaxo, thanks a lot for becoming a member. I'll see anything else. 2000, no, we'll not talk of anything else. We'll talk, we've gone a long time. Yeah, US issuing India for operating the Shahid Behesti terminal. All that is now at this point of time out. You're talking of Chabahar at this point of time with this out. Okay. What's happening in China? We'll talk of it. There's nothing much happening there. Okay. Yeah. On the other day, you said China gave info for targeting, and now they are condemning that. I also said that day. Initially, they gave targets, but then they found that whatever information they gave to Iran went against them. So that's how it is. And now they pulled out. Right? They didn't war game this way. I don't think they thought that this will come to that. Initially, a lot of people in China would have thought, okay, the Strait of Hormuz won't close. You can defeat America, make it costly. Suddenly, when they found the oil flows getting hit, things have changed. Okay. Yesterday, Deltas raided a compound of Khamenei and took out 370 IRGCs, also intelligence. How will it affect the... We'll see. I don't know which compound of Khamenei they took out and how many they took out. So because this is not come in any news, because I don't have, other channels. So this, I don't know where you got this news from. If this is right, please send me the link. Put the link in the, as your comment. I'll look into it and then I'll see what it is. I'll evaluate it after that. Okay. Oh, a lot of questions. Like I said, people are saying different things. Well, your choice, how you want to take it. Yeah. Good morning, sir. Last evening, Casa Dialogues was great, rational. Yeah, we'll see this. We'll take this forward on Tuesday. Again, I'm getting set of 3-4 people who are going to talk of all this. Right? Yeah, this is great. That's what I want to tell everyone. Good. I follow you because you give us a great analysis and your predictions have been 90% accurate. Thanks a lot. I thought I was about only 80 to 70 to 80% accurate. Now you saying 90%, I'm grateful to all of you. So this is what I would like to give you only, confidence in what it is. Because you do go from basics, you'll never be wrong. Okay. Underestimating Iran is the biggest mistake of USA or Trump. That's their headache. From my side, it is USA, whether it's Trump or not. Did US and Israel not mitigate the Hormuz blockade? No, it's not. They didn't plan for it. They didn't think that they'll come to this level. That's the point. You see, war is two-sided. It's very difficult to war game the second side. You can keep wargaming it, but actually the chap will do something which has not been wargamed. And Trump doesn't have the capability to wargame. It's transactional. He's not a strategist. What does this say about PRC protecting its interests? PRC doesn't have the capability. Leave it out. We'll talk of China separately. Is it right that US has taken out air defense from South Korea and deployed it in? Yeah, they are third. I told you. That's come out in South China Morning Post. They have no choice. France and Italy have no choice but to come in. Yesterday I spoke about this. Yeah. What is your assessment of damage to Iran missile drone capability as of now? I spoke of this yesterday. Have a look at it, Sridevika. But the missile capability and drone capability have gone down. On that, let's not have doubts. Their residual capability is very little and it's targeted. As far as nuclear capability, we'll talk of it separately. Okay. Any nuclear threat? Go back to yesterday's discussion with Brigadier Arun Saigal, and that panel with Casa Dialogues. There we have discussed this nuclear business in detail. Okay, I think we have done for the day. Let me see if there's anyone else. Israel News Agency shared the news on their handle. So will Iran end with the same fate as Iraq? Let's see how things happen. Right? Let's see how things happen. Yeah, anything who can predict future correctly 70% of the time or more is in business. Yeah, I'm not a astrologer. I go by fundamental analysis. Right. Okay. Yeah, the caricature was good. I thought about it and then put it. I liked it myself, to be very honest. With this, thanks a lot. We'll join in the evening. We're going to have a talk with Sandeep Unithan, and we'll see what he has done, because he's been speaking in the India Today conclave non-stop for the past 3 days. 8 o'clock in the evening. Till then, have a great day and Jai Hind to all of you.